And Joel says, and I will show wonders in the heaven and in the earth, blood and fire, pillars of smoke. The sun will be turned into darkness, the moon into blood, before the great and the terrible day of the Lord come. And the sun and the moon will be darkened, and the stars will withdraw their shining. The prophet Haggai said, for thus saith the Lord of hosts, yet once, it's a little while, I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry land, and I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come, and I will fill this house with glory, saith the Lord of hosts. So before Christ comes, these cataclysmic judgments of God, catastrophic judgments, where it's not just things on the earth, but the stars, the sky and all. It's going to be just unthinkable, the things that are described in the Bible as things that will be taking place during that period of time. In Matthew 24, Jesus said there in verse 29, immediately after the tribulation of those days, shall the sun be darkened, the moon will not give her light, the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heavens shall be shaken. So it isn't just localized here on the planet Earth, but the whole solar system will be involved and affected by these cataclysmic things that will transpire. And so in verse 12, I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, there was this great earthquake. The sun became black as sackcloth of hair. The moon became as blood. The stars of the heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Meteorite showers. I don't know how many of you have seen the meteorite crater out of Winslow, Arizona. Quite a spectacular sight. They figure that the meteor actually landed out there in the desert and created this huge crater there in the desert floor, causing part of the dirt to form sort of a mountain ring around the valley floor. And can you imagine meteorites, huge asteroids and meteors falling to the earth? Again, it's just things that are almost unthinkable that will be taking place. You might figure, well, you know, I'll build a bomb shelter and, you know, I'll stock it with food and hopefully can survive under these kind of conditions. But the conditions that are described here, you know, no bomb shelter will protect you, and it's just, well, as I said, you don't want to be here. Verse 14, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. So there's going to be a whole geographical change. Now, I've jokingly said through the years that when we come back to reign with Christ on the earth, I've got my resume in and my request for Hawaii. And, you know, I'd like to rule over Hawaii when we return. However, of course, that's all tongue-in-cheek, because the heavens will depart as a scroll when it is rolled together. Every mountain and island were moved out of their places. So Hawaii probably won't even exist in the kingdom age. Isaiah said in chapter 34, come near, ye nations, To hear and to hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, and the world and the things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord, and the word indignation is a word that is used several times in the Old Testament to describe what the New Testament calls the Great Tribulation. And so often it is referred to in the Old Testament as the indignation, God's indignation, God's wrath being poured out upon the earth. The indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, his fury upon their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them, he hath delivered them to the slaughter. And their slain shall be cast out, and the smell shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all of the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved. The heavens will be rolled together as a scroll, and all of the hosts shall fall down, and as the leaf falls off of the vine, and as the falling fig from the fig tree. As we read here, the heavens will depart as a scroll, rolled together, every mountain and island moved out of their place, and the stars of heaven falling to the earth, the fig tree, even as the fig tree cast her untimely figs. And so, as we mentioned, these things in Revelation are just sort of putting together the prophecies from Isaiah and Joel and Haggai and all in the Old Testament, Jeremiah. They spoke of these same things. David in the Psalms speaks of these same events. Indignation, as I said, is an Old Testament word used to describe the period that we call the Great Tribulation. In Isaiah 13:4, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdom of nations gathered together, the Lord of hosts does muster the host for the battle. And they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It will come as destruction from the Almighty. And therefore shall all hands be faint. Every man's heart will melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows will take hold on them, and they'll be in pain as a woman that is in travailing, and they shall be amazed at one another, and their faces will be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord comes, it's cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations shall not give their light. The sun will be darkened in his going forth. The moon will not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and for the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. When the Lord takes out his church, and there will be those people who will know their folly and will turn to the Lord and call upon the Lord, the Antichrist will then go to make war against them and will put many of them to death. Daniel tells us in chapter 7, after this I saw in a night vision, and behold, the fourth beast. He was dreadful and awesome, and he was exceedingly strong. And he had a great iron teeth, and it devoured and broke in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all of the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. And I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom the 3 first horns were plucked up by the roots. And behold, the horns were the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. And I beheld till the thrones were cast down,